these drugs, we're talking about drugs. Everybody needs drugs.
Okay.
As long as there is indiscipline, inadequacies in people's behaviors, as long as there are uncleanliness, as long as there are mistakes people make, disease are bound to exist. Yes. So you require going to the hospital, labs, and at the end of the day, it is drugs that will be written for you to go and purchase to take care of infirmities. So when you have these drugs on the rise, it cuts across poor, the rich. So it is something that if government does, people will benefit a whole lot from it.
We'll begin this conversation taking a quote from Sam Ewing, who once said, "Inflation is when you pay $15 for the $10 haircut you used to get for $5 when you had hair. But now that you have no hair, what's going to happen?" Let's see how this quote relates to what we'll be discussing today. Very warm greetings and welcome to The Conversation. We're reaching you from Kaftan's television studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Annabelle Oji. Today, we'll turn our attention to inflation figures, how expensive things has been, and the market since, in fact, since this year, not even just since last year, but since this year, it's been, I'm trying to find the right word. Is it horrible or terrific or terrifying? Especially food. You go to the market to buy fish for 1,200. Before now, we used to see Titus fish as the fish for the poor man. And for those who don't know, Titus is like the next fish to mackerel. So, but now, if you can afford one Titus fish inside that your jollof rice, then you're a big man. Now, that's on the side. If you now talk about other things like pharmaceutical products, especially drugs, now that you have people who are falling ill to one disease or sickness or the other, you talk about asthma, high blood pressure, even mental health. At some point, one point or the other, we all need to take or ingest one pill or the other. But ladies and gentlemen, these drugs are not getting cheaper by the day. It's getting more expensive every day. I remember seeing a particular report that talked about Augmentin, how expensive Augmentin is. When we were growing up, Augmentin was about 3,000. But ladies and gentlemen, at this moment, now that you're watching me, visit any pharmacy and you find that Augmentin is more than 20,000 naira. Not only Augmentin, some other drugs, Ibex, used to be 300 naira per sachet. But if you go to a pharmacy at the moment, you buy Ibex, that's the drug for pain killer, you buy it for more than 3,000 naira. And that's just to mention a few. What else, or what can especially the patients, the end users do at this moment? My guest on the show today is Chidi Duru, who is the CEO of Amengreen Pharmacy, and we'll be talking about how expensive drugs are, or what you can do, especially to tame this effect. Because, like they say, health is wealth. You need to ensure that you are healthy first before you can even think about buying the next car or the next house. Now, welcome to The Conversation, ladies and gentlemen. Grab a seat with your cup of water or freshly made juice, or maybe tea works better for you, because I will not advise you to go take alcohol. And let's have this conversation with Chidi, the CEO of Amengreen. I'll see you after this time out. Join us again. Welcome back. If you just joined us, this is The Conversation, reaching you from Kaftan's television studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. Now we'll go straight to a conversation for today, and my guest is Duru Chidi, and he is the CEO of Amengreen Pharmaceutical Company. It's great to have you on the show today.
Thank you very much.
Great. Okay, so now let's go straight to our conversation for today. But we'll start with Nigeria's inflation, because I know that everything has skyrocketed. You go to the market in the morning, it's a different price of with what you get to find later on in the day. And then in my mind, I feel like probably it doesn't affect your business, because when you go to the supermarkets, they keep telling you that we only make 10 naira out of almost everything. So all they keep telling us is turnover is how we run our business. So does over 27% of Nigeria's inflation at the moment, does it affect your business in any way?
Yeah, over 27%, like you said, yes. The last 18 years, this is the highest so far. Inflation about 10 times in a row in October has risen to that level. And of course, what is the adverse effect? What is the implication of inflation, high rise inflation? It tells on people's incomes. It tells on their savings. So if it affects drastically how people earn and how people save money, people can no longer save. So it affects virtually everything, not only the places you've mentioned, like the supermarkets, and seriously on pharmaceuticals. In fact, I think the pharmaceutical is the most affected because...
Oh, really?
Yeah. You notice that not quite long, we notice companies that announce their exit from the country. GSK has already done that. And by the time they announce this exit and the time they are going, you notice that, they have had, on GSK products, we've had like 800 to 1,000% increment on the prices.
Because they exited Nigeria.
They exited Nigeria, and more than 60% of the drugs utilized in this country are imported. We don't manufacture much here. Even when you manufacture here, you still need to import the raw materials. The API, which is the active pharmaceutical ingredients needed to manufacture products, are imported.
Okay.
We don't have the petrochemical industries in the country. And these petrochemical industries are the ones that give, space for these APIs to be available in the country. We cannot find API. Foreign exchange, Forex, is actually on the rise. You cannot even determine, at least project that from here to there, this is what you're going to expect. No. Every day you hear different news about foreign exchange. It's always on the rise. So you notice that pharmaceutical industries are going from, in fact, they are suffering. They're having a lot of difficulties getting these foreign exchanges because it's only when they export, you see them earning foreign exchange, or they go to the parallel market and pick up this foreign exchange. It's not enough. Government is not giving incentives. Government is not aiding them with, proper forex availability to be able to import these things. No subsidy on drugs. So it makes it very, very difficult.
Okay, sorry I had to butt in there because you said no subsidy on drugs. Are pharmaceutical companies also looking for subsidy, just the same way the fuel stations or the energy is looking for?
Yes.
How significant, or what would that even
Very,
do?
very significant. In fact, I would say it's more, it should be required in pharmaceutical industries more than in fuel, because these drugs, we're talking about drugs, everybody needs drugs.
Okay.
As long as there is indiscipline, inadequacies in people's behaviors, as long as there are uncleanliness, as long as there are mistakes people make, disease are bound to exist. Yes. So you require going to the hospital, labs, and at the end of the day, it is drugs that will be written for you to go and purchase to take care of infirmities. So when you have these drugs on the rise, it cuts across poor, the rich. So it is something that if government does, people will benefit a whole lot from it. You know, and government needs to talking about that. I think you know, if you're talking about how government should or how this problem should be mitigated, government should widen the scope of this health insurance scheme.
Okay, so wait, before we go to how we can solve the problem, let's first of all address, find out what are the issues. I hear you talk about forex, how much forex keeps affecting everything. Before now, when you go to the market and then you ask, Madam, why is it that I bought fish yesterday for 200 naira and today it's sold for 1,200? She'll tell you, oh, insecurity. But today now it is now dollar don't rise. So if the price of the, or maybe let's say the this precipitous decline of our national currency, if it affects every other thing and also affects these drugs, then how much, or now, because let me go straight to, because I saw a particular post saying that augmentin, I remember when we were growing up, in fact, it looks like as if almost every of us, we abused augmentin, because that time when you have one infection or the other, when you have malaria, you have typhoid fever, the first antibiotics that comes to your mind is augmentin. But recently I saw augmentin now selling for over 20,000. And then we used to buy it, I think it was 3,000 or so. So is it this increase in dollar that touched on even augmentin?
Two things.
Okay.
Basically, one is increase forex. Secondly is the exit, because augmentin you're talking about is part of the products that GSK.
Oh, so now because GSK left.
Yes.
So if you find it is nice,
of course.
premium.
Now they import even some of the GSK products are smuggled into the country. Now they don't bear NAFDAC number again. They are brought into the country from countries that have the plant, countries that GSK exists in, that are still, you know, producing in those countries. So people go out here and bring those products in, because they are still in high demand. The brands, I mean the brands.
The brands, yeah.
Because talking about augmentin, a layman will always say augmentin, without knowing that augmentin is just a brand name.
Oh, that's
to
it.
GSK.
Oh, okay.
Yes, there are so many others.
Oh, okay.
Of this particular product. Augmentin, what does it contain? It contains amoxicillin, clavulanic acid. You have LEC. LEC produces their own, they call it amoxiclav.
Okay.
We have Sanofi. Even Sanofi has announced their
exit. I saw that. Yeah. So I was going to talk about that too.
So it is another thing that is going to befall us.
Wow.
Now, Sanofi has their own Flemin, amoxicillin clavulanic acid. Several companies have these products. So augmentin, because it's a brand which has gotten into the, you know, the subconscious of people. Even if you bring another brand, it will tell you no augmentin. Just like they say Panadol is Panadol. You understand? Yes.
If you know Panadol, you don't feel like Panadol.
Don't feel like so you see, so they tell you it's augmentin. So people go as far as possible, you know, label themselves to anywhere. So this thing also will give rise to fake. When they bring fake, because people are looking for this particular drug that is very, very scarce.
Okay.
People will go producing the fake, and because you want it at all costs, you make the mistake of dabbling into the fake drugs.
So are you saying that if I don't buy augmentin, I can buy from Sanofi, their own brand, or I can buy another one?
Yes,
it doesn't have to be augmentin.
In fact, that is one of the things I even want to probably, you know, in the line of discussion, we'll talk about how we need to mitigate, how we need to ameliorate this particular issue, because they have become a problem too. Augmentin in my place sells, like you said, 20, it sells over 30,000 naira.
Oh, so
something that
very cheap
in
price.
July, before the exit of GSK, augmentin was sold for between 6, 7, 8,000.
Wow.
Now it kept rising, just like Pfizer too. Pfizer is another brand that, in fact, in the last 2 months, witnessed, because what these companies does the reps, the representative of this company, what they do is once in a while, if you have their contact, they deal with you. What they do is once in a while, they keep furnishing you with prices of products as they increase or decrease. But in Nigeria, nothing goes down; it's always up. So, in the last 2 months, Pfizer has, if I'm not lying, Pfizer has increased their prices over 6 times.
Wow.
And these increments are not small. They are things that, somebody gave me a narrative, came to buy a diflucan is fluconazole used in candidiasis or other fungal infections. So there's this lady, she usually, goes for that brand. And this brand, she claims that it does a good work on her each time she uses it. That she has tried, a few other brands that has not been giving her, what she. I said, okay, what do you do now? This particular product is now 7,000 in Abuja. I don't know about the other places. What used to sell 2,000 for 3,000, from 3,000 it went to the amount I'm telling you. So I told the lady, well, what do you do now? Get something that works for you. At that point, the lady was stunned and she realized that if she keeps buying this, her economy will not really support, plus other things that she complained about, In fact, she complained bitterly about the country, how everything is just. I didn't force her when she, on her own, asked if there's any other brand.
Thank God for she, because I know that some doctors will tell you have to buy this one.
Yes, the beautiful thing is that she succeeded in spending only less than 1,000 naira for the brand she bought, as against 7,000 she would have spent. But she's been buying something, the same drug, she's been buying it for 3,000, 4,000 naira in the past. Not recognizing there are other good brands, because she hasn't tried all, but she has tried some. Of course, psychology. It's not that those drugs have not been working for her, but she wasn't patient enough to realize that those drugs are still very okay. What this thing is all about is the representative of the company, how they market their products. Not that their products don't work. Yes, they are good.
Okay.
Because they have company secrets. This company is GSK. Like Augmentin now, they will tell you to take it one morning, one in the evening. Don't do it 3 times. But other brands of this same product will tell you one morning, one afternoon, one in the night. Can you see the difference? The same drug, different dosing. What it means is that there is something
that Augmentin has. Okay.
Yes. That's what we call, barriers when a drug is ingested. You understand? It passes through barriers, gastrointestinal system, so many places it goes. You understand? If it's a pregnant woman and, with a baby, with a fetus, you have what we call, blood-brain barrier.
Okay.
There are some drugs that can pass and get to the fetus, which could, have some teratogenic effect. That's toxicity effect on the fetus. So these drugs, you measure the strength of the company by certain things they put in the drug to be able to pass barriers and get to the target organ.
Oh, great. Okay.
That some of these other ones will need for you to dose it more or add to the strength for it to still give the same effect.
Oh, okay.
You get? So that is how, these drugs, but not to say that if a drug is well manufactured, considering the best standard of pharmaceutical practice, you understand? So if you employ all those good standards, manufacturing standards, you end up producing something good.
But if for we the consumers, we might not even know that those companies, they didn't add all of that, because I remember then we were talking about augmentin, but so at some point it used to be lincosin upjohn. If it is not lincosin upjohn, then forget it. Or if it is not this, then forget it. So now, how do when as a consumer or as a patient, when you go into the hospital, you go to a pharmacy, thank God for you that he's even telling us the truth, or even told your patients the truth. Sometimes when you even go to this pharmacy, it is that expensive one they will ask you to buy. If they don't have it, they will ask you to come back because that is the one that works. So how do you deal as the patient?
Let me tell you the truth. It's good to say things the way they should be, and not. I've been a representative of a company.
Okay.
I've been a representative. We know the things we do to promote products. These things you see are not the way they are. Companies go extra miles in doing things that are not considered appropriate in order to make sure that their brands are marketed, are used across.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's not as if, all fingers are not equal. Some are bigger. These are multinational companies. They give their representative exotic cars. They rent apartments for them, pay them handsomely, to push these products.
So when you say representative, are they marketers?
Marketers, yes. Okay. People that go to detail these products in the hospitals, meeting doctors, going to, places to make sure that this product penetrates to where they... Yes. They can even go to the extent of bribing their way, you understand, to put these products, on hospital list of drugs that are acquired. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Companies take doctors, abroad for, symposia, for, a lot of activity. They take them out, spoil them with gifts and whatever, to just make sure that the doctors write the prescriptions bearing their products. So these are the things. So it's a situation of who has the biggest, fund to be able to push these things. And you cannot measure up companies that are owned by just single people, or you cannot measure with such big weights. So they will always kick you out of, but what limits their movement is the high cost, because at the end of the day, what happens is that the high cost, imposed on these products, because of the overhead. They are paying salary, they are giving cars to the reps, they are giving them good accommodation. They travel out for training and all that. So at the end of the day, they calculate all this, and it is the drug, the patient,
and it's the patient that suffers
the most. Yes, at the end of the day, it's the patient. But these other ones, they have their representatives, but not as large as equipped with the other ones. They go out, push their products to the extent they can, and then believing God that this thing will keep until they break even. Those drugs are okay. We are operating in the pharmacy. We are the ones handling these products. So we are the ones using them on.
So it means that the one that is, okay, if you cannot afford this one, just buy this one.
My sister, say, if I have augmentin, when we used to have augmentin, if I have augmentin, 10 packets in my stock. The other brands of augmentin, amoxicillin, clavulanic acid, like I said, the other brands will be more than 50. Because I know how many people, in Abuja, yes, in Gwarimpa Estate, where we have one of our, openings, one of our branches. Thank God people can pay their bills. Yes, we have, people can afford to, pay for these things there. So they don't have problems with. But go to suburbs, satellite areas. Do say we have a branch in Sokale. Do say we have, Buhari. You see, who will buy even when they were affordable? In quotes. How many people buy those things? Are you telling me that they don't get well? They are using other products.
Okay.
Even the amoxicillin clavulanate, they can dose it 3 times against
two times.
Yeah. They will still take it for 5, 6, 7 days and still come back. And that is what the bane of our suffering. The understanding, the awareness should be created. That's where I said that we should launch a serious awareness, I think
Campaign.
on this, campaign on this to let people know, because it's lack of knowledge
True.
that is actually even helping to, deplete our resources. It's lack of knowledge. If you have knowledge on how to prevent a disease, what are you doing? You have less chances of contracting that disease. And of course, the money ordinarily, if that disease comes, you would have spent purchasing drugs for that. You save that. If you have knowledge that Augmentin has another brand that can be taken and
That's
it's
more
cheap.
affordable.
Yeah, more affordable to your reach. You save money. So our people is, I say my people perish. The Bible will say it's because of lack of knowledge. It is the knowledge, the campaign that needs to be mounted upon the government, my colleagues.
Because I was going to ask you, so who is supposed to sit on this round table having this campaign?
My colleagues, the government, the institutions, you understand, that do things about health. Non-governmental organizations that, also promoting health, and so they should campaign vigorously for this and make people understand so that these high-cost products or drugs that are available in the market that people are killing themselves trying to get, so that people will have less attachment to them. Because if GSK is not existing today, let's assume that they are completely extinct. Are you saying that diseases will not be cured? You understand? I was going through a particular writing, in a newspaper or something, and this is about forex and stock exchange. When they were asked, I think the chairman of the stock exchange or whatever, they said, this exit of GSK, what's the impact on stock exchange? They said, no, we don't have problem. No, that they contribute only about 4% and all that. And what I'm saying, I'm using that to illustrate or narrate that we should not kill ourselves over this exit. Rather, there are things we can do. Government has the bigger responsibility.
All right. There's so many things you've actually said that we can unbundle, but then let's go on a quick break, and when we return, we'll continue this conversation with Duru Chidi, CEO, Amengreen Pharmacy. I'll see you after this time out. Join us again. But some people will say, I'm not supposed to have anything to do with diabetes. So how did diabetes come?
That is what I'm telling you. Adult onset. It's not when you were saying, in fact, it doesn't run in the family. It's not, it's genetical. You started bringing it to yourself because of your phobic life. That is, phobic means diet and what, the way you think. you ingest into your mouth. That is what causes everything. You see people who cannot do without, bottles of Cokes, Coca-Cola products on daily basis. There are people like that, a lot of them. And they grow,
so these things are waiting for them in the future. So these things are waiting for them in the future.
You see, it's only when you go and check that you will realize whether sometimes you will not notice, you will not know, you will not start having symptoms. Sometimes you might have symptoms that you may think it is something else, like if your sight is not clear again, you have blood vision and all that, and you won't know except somebody is telling you, like I'm telling you now.
If you just joined us, this is The Conversation. We're reaching you from Kaftan's television studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. If you actually just joined us, you've missed out on a whole lot, but then you can still join in the second part of the show. As my guest on the show today is Chidi Duru, who is the CEO of Amengreen Pharmacy. All right, before we went on that break, we've actually touched on quite a number of things, and like this topic is inexhaustible. Like we could keep going on and on, because now you talked about how much pharmaceutical companies send in their representatives or their marketers to just go and get us feedback, spread this gospel, let me use that word, or spread this drugs to the market regardless. So if you want a car, we give you a car. If you want a house in Guzape, we give you one. But we don't care, just spread our gospel. That's all that matters. But then, like you said, the ripple effect is telling on the patient, on the end user. They're the one that suffers all the ripple effect, because even the doctors that you give it to, what is their business? They will pass everything back to the patient. Now, aren't there regulators that are supposed to check on these things? Because I keep having these questions. I remember talking to the former president, or the former chairman of the pharmaceutical company, that's Sam Ohabonwa, at some point. And then he said that there are always regulators checking and checking. But you just wonder, how much are they even doing? How much is NAFDAC doing? How much is Standard Organization doing? Are they not seeing this, or is everybody turning a blind eye all of a sudden?
Thank you very much. You see, what are you going to regulate on? Sorry to say, are you going to regulate people who are going to market their products? They have a license. They have the, all the necessary, covering.
But there should be a regulation. If you're bringing it into my market, this is what we want. This is the probably the blockage. This is what you should do. Else, don't bring it to my market.
No, they have satisfied all the requirements. What I'm saying is, it's not as if you shouldn't allow them the space to do their thing. It's proper, but the situation where you begin to do unworthy things. You understand? Bribe. Let me put it that way. To make your products gain entrance, dominance in the market, is where I am completely. After all, it is about, you go to a restaurant, maybe Jevnik restaurant in Abuja, or Hungry Man, or Tastier in Gwarimpa. The prices of the stuff that are there, you ask them, and if it's not okay for you,
you just go look for what Mama
put somewhere and eat. All right, you still get full. So the thing is, the awareness of the other products, is what needed. You don't need to go and fight these people, because you won't hear or know or see when they are offering these incentives or bribes or things to make their own have more impact. You won't see them happening. If I'm not telling you, you may not know that this thing goes on. I had experience. I was in the field, moving up and down, trying to market products and all that. I saw things happening. So there's nobody, you won't put police, you don't start policing these people to know whether they are following a doctor to give him recharge card or to take him to somewhere in a restaurant to buy him. No, you won't see it happening.
Okay.
You won't see companies calling these doctors to a round table for discussion of these things. You understand? You won't see. Their products are good, no doubt, because they have been tested, proven that they work. Just like other products too, that doesn't have that prowess to be able to do what these companies are doing. So my take is, allow them to do, but encourage them to do the proper thing in marketing their product. But these other products,
there should be more awareness.
Yes, and more awareness, and colleagues, pharmacists like me, should talk about it. Should encourage people, and not when you don't have augmentin, or maybe when you don't have the other brands, you only have augmentin.
You force it on them.
Yes.
Okay.
You begin to do that, it is not ideal. Because at the end of the day, you are killing the patient. You're not helping the patient.
Okay, because you talked about killing the patient. Now, let's go to one of the headlines this morning on Business Day. Precisely says, the big story there says, rising drug prices squeeze health insurers' margin. Healthcare providers ask HMOs to for tariff reviews. But then you just look at this rising drug prices, yet like I remember when you started, you said we're always, if we don't live, if we are all taking care of ourselves, we don't fall sick, you don't have one bacterial infection. And I'm wondering, is there anybody that will just stay the whole year and you don't have one infection or the other? Even though I've seen some people that will say that I've never been to hospital all my life, but at least maybe you've taken para or one aspirin or the other. But then our parents, they're aging, so it means that they're all open to some of these infections and diseases. They have to battle with diabetes. They have to battle with high blood pressure or low blood pressure. They have to battle with one prostate cancer or the other, and their drugs are not cheap at all. Because before, when we're growing up, they say diabetes is the sickness for the big man. But now it looks like it's everywhere, and then they cannot even afford to buy these drugs. So how can we deal? What's the best foot forward? If we have to put our best foot forward here, how can we deal, especially when we have to take care of our families? Because I remember asking someone, and the person told me, just go and take a go for trado medical. But not everybody knows how to swallow those substances or those liquids. So how do we deal there?
You know, for opting time now, each time I wake up, part of my prayer and thanksgiving to God is that, God, thank you for keeping me, my family, healthy. Thank you for the health of the body. It's not everybody that will thank God like that, though. Because the reason is that sometimes a whole year, me, know nothing about malaria.
Even though you're selling malaria drugs?
Yeah, my pharmacist. A good one at that. Yeah, but I don't suffer malaria. Is it not a good reason to thank? Because I see people come, on and on.
So what is it that you are doing that makes you not suffer malaria?
Well, prevention is better than cure. Well, you have your phone. Now, this whole thing is, call it palm top or phone, whatever. You can Google and know what you need to do to keep these things far from you. But it's not as if you can't.
Isn't that bad business for you?
No.
And you are the doctors.
See, just like I told you, okay, bad business, I should stop preaching the way
I'm just saying all of us are well.
No. That's people will still have, in the past, malaria was killing more than HIV. What is HIV? Malaria killed sub-Saharan Africa. It's still killing, ravaging countries. Yes, malaria that you see. Just because the drug is available everywhere. It's as if that malaria is one of the most serious infection anybody can talk about. Malaria. Malaria is dangerous, very dangerous.
Really?
Yes.
And then some people say, is it not just malaria? You have cough.
Because
malaria.
you know, they gave birth to you, you grew up to notice that malaria drugs are everywhere. Anything you enter, you can even have it handy. And then you take and it's gone. No, malaria, then, before malaria can kill mothers, children, ravaging. It killed very well before the drugs, come in and start dealing with, the plasmodium. Now, is it not the awareness that has been created? Is it not the drugs that are available that kept this thing on the low? You understand? Kept it from killing people anyhow. It is what I'm talking about. There are, let's talk about diabetes. What is diabetes? It's all about sugar. Sugar in your system. We have what we call insulin. That is, in your pituitary gland, insulin is produced normally, ideally. When it notices, it has this signal that sugar is in your blood excessively. Insulin comes naturally to, you understand, break down or remove the sugar.
Okay.
Yeah. But when your insulin is not being produced enough, there's issue with your pituitary gland. Insulin is not being produced, or is not being produced at all. It's not stimulated. What happens? Sugar comes into your blood and it doesn't, or you're getting more sugar in your system, more than the insulin required to. That's what we do when we are adults, in adult stage, because we have adult onset, we have juvenile onset diabetes.
Okay.
Yeah, that is type 1, juvenile. Type 2 is adult onset. Now, adult onset is as a result of our own making. We give it to our activity.
Is that for everybody?
It's for everybody. If you don't take care of yourself, it will happen to you.
But some people will say, I'm not supposed to have anything to do with diabetes. So how did diabetes come?
That is what I'm telling you. Adult onset. It's not when you were. In fact, it doesn't run in the family. It's not, genetical. You started bringing it to yourself because of your phobic life. That is, phobic means diet and what, the way you things you ingest into your mouth. That is what causes everything. You see people who cannot do without, bottles of Cokes, Coca-Cola products on daily basis. There are people like that, a lot of them. And they grow,
so these things are waiting for them in the future. So these things are waiting for them in the future.
You see, it's only when you go and check that you realize whether. Sometimes you will not notice, you will not know, you will not start having symptoms. Sometimes you might have symptoms that you may think it is something else, like if your sight is not clear, you have blood vision and all that, and you won't know, except somebody is telling you, like I'm telling you now. There are certain things that will start happening to you. You pass urine all the time, you wake up in the night, in the morning, if there are easy, but that's not what we're talking about now. Now, these things can be prevented. They said in the rules, in diabetes, one of the rules is that don't allow the input to be more than the output. What do they mean? What you put in, the sugar, through all the carbohydrate foods you eat and all that. Don't allow them to gain more, dominant in your system than what you do to burn out, these sugars, exercise, and all that.
Okay.
So you must ensure. So that's one of the rules in diabetes. So what it means is that nobody will ask you not to eat any. No, in diabetes, nobody says, quote me anywhere. You can eat anything you want as long as you can burn them.
Ah, okay. So that means you can actually be diabetic and not live on drugs. That's what you're saying?
Yes.
Or just exercise?
You can burn it out if you can, but if you're old.
Oh, that's
Is
when
that- is an incomparance now. No,
immune
you
system
get
is
old,
down?
not immune system. Diabetes that has nothing to do with the immune system.
Ah, okay.
Is when you talk about immune system, it's infections like bacterial, viral infections. Diabetes is an is not immune system deficiency issue. It's about sugar. Now, if you're old, of course, maybe like 70, 80 and up, the level of burning of sugar, exercise you can do, workouts, will reduce drastically.
Yes.
So what do you do? In that case, you don't need to be eating anything you see. You watch your diet
Okay.
very well, so that you don't put in things that you cannot be able to handle.
Okay, now, so sorry I have to butt in again, because you're talking about diabetes. Let's leave diabetes. How about high blood pressure or low blood pressure? Or even how about, because we're supposed to have another guest together, but she could not make it because she's a nurse at the National Hospital. She has a daughter that she was born as a child with special needs. She has cerebral palsy. So she keeps saying that every time she needs to buy her daughter's drug, it keeps getting expensive. That's if she even sees it.
Yeah.
So if you have moms or parents who deal with children with special need, either they are asthmatic, because now you talked about Sanofi trying to leave. I saw the headline some time ago, and then I heard I think I read somewhere where they said the inhaler for asthma people is not even getting more expensive. Ventolin, that one is not even more expensive than what it used to be. So people who have families who have this do you call it disease or infection, either asthma or high blood pressure, or they were born as a child with special need, either cerebral palsy, and they have to get those drugs despite the fact that they're expensive. Now, it's not a matter of exercise. How would they deal?
Yeah, I agree with you. There are diseases that are not, your own making. It's not because that's why I said, things happen natural. Like your cerebral palsy, asthma, and some of them, as you're growing up, you're taught how to manage, because this asthma, you see, there are factors that cause asthma or make you have attacks. These factors, we'll call them allergens.
Okay.
These allergens, even a dog can pass here now. The falls can lead to an asthmatic patient having
an attack.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Cobwebs.
Rug
sweep. Cold. Exercise. Yeah, we have exercise-induced asthma. There are other things. Body sprays, perfumes, things. So many of them. And the easiest way to deal with asthma is to identify the allergen.
Okay.
That is causing it. And you get, when I was in school, it's not asthma, but these are respiratory tract issues or upper respiratory tract issues. Mold. You see, this mold, that one, the one I'm talking about is hair fever. It happens to me.
Okay.
Yes, I was in second year pharmacy or first year pharmacy. I never really had a good time in pharmacy for me to know a lot of things. So each time we go, you know, this strike in Nigeria, a long time it started. So, yeah, I had about, you know, a lot of them in school while I was in school, strikes here and there. So, one of the strike action, not actually during vacation, one of the strike action, we went and we stayed more than 2 weeks, 3 weeks, kept coming back. I think rainy season was almost ending, and so, you know, you lock your room. I was living off camp, locked my room, some of my clothing were in the wardrobe, and you know, everything kept as just with your traveling bag, you're off. Coming back after 3 weeks, 1 month, you need to clean up the house, dust, and then each time I open my wardrobe to clean up I will notice a choking sensation, breathlessness, difficult in breathing. I was confused. It happened to me. I managed to, you know, get out of that situation. It didn't happen again until another, you know, movement that took a long while for us to return. Coming back again, I opened and I tried. Then the thing came, and I was lucky to critically observe that on my black jeans,
yeah, especially dark,
I noticed,
dark ones.
ash-like deposits on the. I say, what is this? They say, it could be this thing that is causing.
And you never had it before that time?
No. So all I do each time I need to dust, and then I started reading about on my own, and I now realized it was hair fever.
So there's hair fever.
These are the things that causes. It was mold that accumulates because of the humidity of the area. They like the environment, so they accumulate mold. It's a living thing. So dusting, you know, trying to remove those stuff makes it move and then penetrate.
Oh, okay.
You ingest them and start causing. So, but drugs like Piriton, loratadine, you know, and cetirizine, and all those anti-allergies, once you take it. So each time I want to do that kind of stuff now, I put one Piriton tablet.
Okay.
I can even barely, you know, notice. In fact, I won't even need to tie, because I usually tie my nose before embarking on such, you know, duty. So
are you saying that if you find out that you have any kind of allergy at all, just take one Piriton?
Allergy. Of course, there are allergies that are, have allergies are of different categories.
True.
You know, there are drugs. We don't want to start on that, but that is one of the. Mold is not a big deal. You can use Piriton.
Okay.
Just take it and then, you know, you're solving the problem. So what I'm saying is, if you notice the allergen causing your asthma, you can stop it. Just like exercise. If you're the type that once you exercise or you climb staircase and you do hard work, which is exercise still in the category, you notice that, you know, attack come. If you always stay off exercise, you won't have that attack.
Okay.
You can stay all your life not having that attack. But it is very difficult to understand which is causing. It's very, because there are so many things, even woolly clothes you wear, you won't know that it is that. Some food can cause. So allergens, they abound. So now diseases are better taken care of. Prevention is better than cure. I keep saying. We say there are a lot of ailments that is not by your own making. Asthma, cerebral palsy, hypertension. Some of them hypertension, some are hereditary. You know,
or even sickle cell
anemia. So these are the things. Okay, sickle cell anemia. If in the past, we don't know, but presently, because of awareness creation and knowledge, you know, people have come to realize, understand what sickle cell is all about, the genotype,
and how they can actually
So like I have somebody who comes, it's not how big the person is, before you get married, and then you later realize that this person, people can be sicklers and still they have, you understand, it's not every
sleepless night
you see.
I know we in Nigeria, we always have that thing with you have sickle cell because you are slim.
And we are treating cases that we look at parents big enough, but the child is dying of.
All right, our time is fast spent, but let's get your last word, especially to viewers. Like I said, you have people who are having one ailment or the other that is not caused by them, like my guest who was supposed to be here, who has a daughter who has cerebral palsy, or other persons who have one special need or the other. If they don't have to, because now drugs are very expensive. I remember she saying that she can't even find it, not to talk of even now talking about the expenses. So for such people, how can they manage? Okay, that's the right word. How can they actually manage those situations for themselves or for their loved ones?
I keep watching you ask question and talk. You are behaving like somebody who has been affected by this whole condition, seriously. Because from the onset, I've been talking about brands. You don't seem to put that into your consideration when you're asking questions. You mentioned Ventolin, GSK product for asthma. What it contains is salbutamol.
But you know that as a pharmacy, if I am a
that is what I'm saying.
How will I know?
That is what I'm preaching here. That is what I'm saying. We have the one that is fast selling now is Erolin. It's also salbutamol. Who talks about Ventolin again? Go and ask that your friend. If you go to their house now, what you will see is Erolin and so many other brands.
Okay.
Even those ones has even climbed, but not to compare, because Ventolin will be at, if you see it now, in a few places, about 15,000 or so. Why this Erolin? In my place, it's still 3,004 or 5.
Can you imagine the long range?
Still working. Because this one went up, and people now, what are we going to? What are we going? This thing is, they now. It's when things happen to people that they learn.
They begin. Okay.
They don't learn when we are talking like this. They will, this program, maybe somebody will be watching from somewhere now and be like, what are they? I'm using my. But if you listen, you prevent that occurrence.
All right.
So that you begin in earnest to start using. So what I'm saying is, let's do much of
research,
awareness,
and
creation.
All right.
Preaching to people so that they will realize that there are alternatives. This salbutamol, that it has tablets, it has Ventolin. That one, tablet, has long been out of the circulation.
All right.
We have the counting ones that is sold 10 naira.
Really?
Even less in some places.
I think
and people come to ask for it and buy it with ease, without stress, and go.
Okay.
There are a lot we can do.
Okay. We need to bring you back some other time, because, like I said, this topic is deep. We can keep going on and on, and is inexhaustible. Thank you so much for your time with us. It's been a wonderful time having this talk with you.
I appreciate you bringing me here.
Great. All right, viewers, I'm sure you must have been rightly educated, entertained, and informed that there are alternatives. You don't have to go for one particular brand if it is so expensive. Why not check for the alternative? It's been a wonderful time having this conversation with Chidi Duru, who is the CEO of Amengreen Pharmacy here in Abuja. And like I said, I hope you have been rightly educated and entertained. It's not all about you having one sickness or the other, but research and get the right word. Not only knowledge, get understanding. I will see you next time. My name is Annabelle Oji. God bless you and yours. God bless Nigeria.